So, welcome to day 3 of our live recordings of the Convenient Creative podcast, live at AnimeCon 2025. We wanted to conclude the day, the weekend, by talking more in depth about fandoms.
Yes.
Because that's what AnimeCon is all about.
Oh, yes.
But very specifically, talk about how a single fandom can drive someone to essentially create some of their life's work around it.
Yeah.
And when you're very passionate about one thing and you pour your everything into it, it can grow into a marvelous array of different things that can circle around this same topic.
Yeah.
And you are a prime example of this. Jamie, Jay, also known as Jay Eggman,
Yeah.
Sonic Cage Dome,
Yeah.
The Opinion Zone,
Yeah.
and The Sonic Show, primarily, all started out of the fandom love for Sonic.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. From a little kid.
So when did you start your journey towards Sonic love?
Sonic, well,
Where did the Sonic love blossom?
so it was actually school kids always go around each other's houses, play on their video games consoles, and one of my best friends at the time, when I was like in primary school, he had a copy of Sonic 2 on Mega Drive, and literally love him to pieces. Hope he's doing well in the world now. But I think it got to a point where I was just going around to play Sonic, like just all the time.
Like not the friend. Forget the friend. Just the Sonic.
And just the Sonic. But then from then on, as kids, you start building like these ideas of like fan characters and like this is my Sonic character and stuff like that. And it sort of snowballed from there. So literally from that moment of just being like, oh, I have this game called Sonic. Do you want to check it out? And I was like, so excited.
Professional.
Yeah, this is my personality now. This is for the rest of my life. I can already see from that moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very
At what point did you go from Sonic fan to Sonic super fan?
Well, that's a good question actually. So, I'd say after that childhood moment, there was a bit of a dip in the early teens.
Yeah.
And then I've always played video games. I played every single video game, but I genuinely think it was around Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, where I was like, oh, no, this is so cool. This is so awesome. It's so amazing. And then from then on, I wanted to just make stuff.
Big man himself.
Yeah. In Shadow. Shadow is the start of everything important. And from that moment on, it was a case of like, oh, I want to start creating stuff around this franchise. And then again, around that time is when fandom internet stuff in the UK really took off, because I think more of us just had access to computers and stuff then.
Yeah.
So then I was like in every message board, all the forums, all the things, take online radio stations that people were doing from their bedrooms and stuff, listening to all of it.
Shout out to Homestead and GeoCities.
Yes, literally. I was browsing every website full of all the Sonic GIFs and horrendously placed fonts. Yeah, just loving it. And that was my way in. And then, I think from there, it transitioned to a point where through a particular situation where I sort of said, actually, I don't want to just consume. I want to contribute.
Okay, so what was the turning point in what made you go from I'm looking at websites to I am going to start creating my own collective of information?
So there was a good friend of mine, Graham, I'm still friends with him now, but through Sonic Stadium, which is still thriving to this day, they had like a radio station called Sega Sonic Radio. And then they also did something called Sega Sonic TV.
Yeah.
It was a season of web videos. This is before YouTube. So the only way you could download these videos, video episodes, was to connect to the Sonic Stadium FTP server and download like this video format that was like 320 by 240 pixels, high quality. And I was consuming it and watching it. And if I'm really honest, I thought it was a bit mid. I just thought it was a bit
Wow.
like, oh,
Imagine.
this is a bit rubbish. Like, this is the best franchise in the world, and you're making it sound as exciting as going to church. Like, it just wasn't particularly enthralling. And I went on the message board and basically gave my feedback. They're like, oh, this is a bit pants, and this isn't great, and this and stuff. And then someone by an online name who went by Zizu replied to my comment and said, look, before you, whatever, if you think you can do better, basically, before you start making comments, why don't you have a go yourself? Basically, like, don't come to us if you can't do it. So I said, fine, I will. And that was literally it. I was like, oh, you say I can't complain because I'm not doing it. I'll do it, and I'll do it better. That's literally what I did.
And so you did. And so you did. And that was the birth of your YouTube channel.
Yes.
The Sonic Show.
The Sonic Show.
And you went on to do the Sonic Show for quite a few years, didn't you?
Approaching 15 years. Yeah. 15 years of
15
crazy
years
Sonic
of
content.
Sonic content of all kinds, from releasing books, CDs, merch, skits.
Yes.
Full-on
Vlogs,
episodes.
music videos, animations. We once made a like a short film. Like we did everything.
Well done.
Juggernaut.
Well done.
So yeah, I took on that challenge from Sega Sonic TV.
What would you say out of your entire Sonic Show experience specifically would be the biggest highlight? At what point doing the Sonic Show did you feel like you were the shit in the Sonic community? Right?
Actually, two experiences that connect to each other. One was when the Sonic Show was involved in the world's first ever Sonic convention, Summer of Sonic.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the fact that we did all the video content and the media content, like we created.
Oh no, who said that? Who said that? The voices.
But yeah, so the Sonic Show created all the visuals, all the media. We did the live streaming, all this sort of stuff. So doing that was like, oh, we're something.
Yeah.
Move on.
You won a Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah, I have a Guinness World Record for being an organizer of a world's first, because there had never been a convention dedicated to a video game franchise before.
Impressive.
So,
well done.
Trendsetter.
Always the influencer.
But the other thing that made me think, oh, the Sonic Show's like a thing, was at those conventions.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we sell T-shirts, we did things like that through website and for our stuff. You'd then start seeing people in our merch at these conventions, and then people would also come up to you and be like, can you sign this?
Okay.
It's like,
cute.
You sure? Is this? And they're like, no, seriously, no, I want it to sign. Like, I love your content, sign and stuff. There was that moment where people were actually starting to like headhunt you in a crowd and and just wanted to tell you how much they love your stuff. I was like, oh wow, okay, this is actually something people respond to. Yeah.
Of course. How long ago would you say this was in relation to now?
So that sort of peak moment was probably 2008 to 2010.
So I would say probably that was the start of the YouTubers are actually becoming celebrities.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have that a lot before. And you were one of the first people to experience the stardom that came with having an online presence.
I would say so, yeah. And it was kind of weird, 'cause like you said, no one had really experienced that before. So that's...
Or prepared you for it in any capacity.
Oh, no, like, it was like, how do you deal with these people who are really into your content, and you've become like a personality before the term influencer was coined, but it was like, oh, how do you navigate that? How do you deal with this? And how do you make the content you want to make without letting that influence it too much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a little browse through your book that you released as the Sonic Show still,
available on
and
eBay.
you had mentioned putting it out there in the universe that you wanted to start a podcast.
Yes.
Which it did indeed happen. You
Yeah, it did,
created the Opinion Zone.
Yes. So the Sonic Show started out as a video podcast because,
Professional.
yes, it started out as a video podcast.
I'm going to say that every time he
because-
hits the microphone.
so many wires. It started out as a video podcast because, again, when we started the Sonic Show, YouTube wasn't a thing. So the only way you could watch the show was through iTunes and download it to
Okay.
your video iPod
Oh, wow.
back in the day.
Wow.
And then it transitioned to YouTube very early on. But then I realized, actually, I kind of like the podcast setup.
Okay.
And I like the idea of doing an audio podcast and just get... So videos, as people who've ever made a video, just seen a lot of YouTube content, know how it can produce and edit and thought through it can be and all the thing. I like the idea of just getting a group of friends together
Mhm.
and just talking chaff about Sonic
Yeah.
opinions. I was like,
Of course.
Sonic fans always have opinions. They're opinionated about everything, whether it be the color of his eyes or how long his limbs are. Like, they have an opinion on everything. So why don't we just make it... What better zone from a Sonic would be to just having a zone full of opinions? So the Opinion Zone was born. And that's literally what it
Okay.
became. Ran for many, many years. And it was just all of us, a select group of friends getting together and just like hashing out our thoughts. Lots of debates on different subject matter around Sonic.
So, for those who haven't specifically followed the Opinion Zone or the Sonic Show, did the format change so much, or did you more or less keep the same rhythm of things? Were you challenged to look at media in a completely different way?
So, for the Sonic Show and for the Opinion Zone, they both changed a lot. For different reasons, though. So, for the Opinion Zone, it evolved based on what we just found more interesting to do. So, for example, when the Opinion Zone started, it was like, this is the opinion topic of the week, and that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
As it evolved, we just wanted to have more fun.
Yeah.
So then we introduced segments and games and just made it about just
Yes.
being like the idea of people listening and just having a fun time with us.
Yeah.
And then it transitioned again when we decided to do it as a live show every week. So every week was a 2-hour live on Radio Sega, which again, still going strong to this day. So every week it was like a whole show was prepped and done live. And that, so then that just naturally changed the format because it's as is. There's no editing. It's like none of it's pre-recorded. The Sonic Show also evolved, but for more the reason that the taste of people who consume content continuously evolves, and the moment you get used to a format, it's dead. People's taste change. So like we would do Let's Plays were a huge thing. So like we would do lots of like playing video games and stuff, and then the vlogging boom happened. So then there was lots of vlogs and stuff, and then so the continuously evolving like long form content, short form content. Like so you just had to continuously keep a pace of what people wanted.
Yeah.
While still making it authentically yourself, because there has to be a balance. Because if you just chase trends, it becomes very inauthentic. So yeah, there was always finding that balance. But the Sonic Show definitely has eras of content.
Okay. And at some point, you detached yourself from the Sonic Show.
Yes.
I know it's a little bit of a more intimate and personal thing. Is there something about that you would like to mention or say? Why would something that has taken so much of your time and passion, you gave that up?
Yeah. I mean, in reflection, probably not the best decision I've ever made. But at the time, life stuff was happening, lots of life stuff, not feeling it specifically.
Yeah.
And while that was happening, keeping a YouTube channel going continuously is very stressful, very time consuming.
Yes.
Because you were putting out like 3 videos a week,
Yeah.
long form content, very exhausting.
Yeah.
And when real life gets in the way, it got to a point where I hadn't posted for like 6 months. And I hadn't uploaded for 6 months. So it's like, I have no passion to do this anymore.
Okay.
But for some reason in my head, I didn't want the brand to die.
Yeah.
I was like, I want the Sonic Show to continue beyond me.
Yeah.
I am not bigger than this community I've built.
Okay.
So the decision was made that I looked at a variety of different creators who I'd sort of like done little bits with, and there's one I found that I think at the time matched the sort of energy I had and tone. And I was like, would you like to start making content for us? They started making more and more. And I eventually said, like, here's the keys. Look after the ship.
Nice.
Yeah. And they've done a variety of things with that since.
Fair enough. We don't need to go into the roller coasters and ups and downs of that. However, aside from continuing the Opinion Zone, which is the first piece of media I've heard that you produced, which is probably one of the, if not the most recent episodes before you started our own podcast.
Yes.
You also started Sonic Hedgehog as a more influencery experience.
Yes. So interestingly, with Sonic, I think I got withdrawal symptoms from giving up the Sonic show.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, why did I do that? So I wanted to have a Sonic brand again.
Yeah.
And back in the day of the early days of the Sonic show was a website called Sonic Hedgehog, ran by this guy called Zizu, the guy who told me to make my own Sonic show. And,
Full circle.
And
he stole his content twice.
So
you heard it here first.
I approached him and said, "Oh, that website that has been dead for like 10 years. Can I have it?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, fine, whatever." It's fine, do you want it?
Bless this Suzu, wherever he is.
So I took it on and just tried to make it a more like a social media brand instead, and just like a house where all the stuff that I make Sonic related can come out of. So the podcast moved under that, and any Sonic content I do sort of lives under that brand now.
Nice.
And has done well ever since. And it's funny because the people who used to be part of Sonic Hedgehog back in the day, like the mid 2000s and stuff, they will still message me and be like, "It's crazy what you've done with it. Like it was just dead, and now I'm seeing it like on t-shirts and stuff in conventions and all this other stuff, and like I'm seeing like influencer brands and Sonic Hedgehog being invited to SonicCon UK, and like so they're
cheers from the crowd.
Yeah, they're genuinely impressed that I've managed to bring relevancy back to it.
Perfect. So your story is a testament that even though you don't necessarily always give your 1,000,000% to a passion project, even though there's moments where you slow down and come back to it, it doesn't mean that you don't love the theme or the fandom in the same way, but you also keep on trucking, and it's ever evolving. What you put into the project, the way you tackle it, the type of media is different. Again, it's ever evolving. What you've done has been ever evolving. It's from YouTube to podcasting to influencering to event organizing.
Yeah. I think that's the key thing is if you have a passion for any franchise or IP or anything like that, especially if you're a creative person as well, your desire to build upon that community never goes. Even if you like take a step away and you want to step back from a bit, there's always something that draws you back.
Yes.
I think because that interest never fades away, in my opinion. And that's what happened with this. Like I took a step back, thought I was done with everything.
Yep.
And there's just a part of me that's like, no, I need to continue to express creatively my interest in this IP and this franchise. And again, as time goes on, that has evolved, like you said.
Yes. So we met at SonicCon.
Yes, we did.
Woo, SonicCon! And I would say that your passion to create has come back even more so since then.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like to speak about that at all?
Yeah, so SonicCon was probably the first big Sonic gathering I attended in a fair few years.
The best, he said.
Yeah, so I was like, how could I not?
The best, he said.
And I was very kindly invited, and I was like, there's too many things in place for me not to do this. And it was on my birthday. So what better way to spend my birthday than with a bunch of Sonic fans? So had a great time, and I actually think being in that space really reminded me, oh, I really miss this.
Yeah.
It reminded me of my summer of Sonic days. It reminded me of the mass gatherings we would do with all my fellow Sonic creators and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of them being at SonicCon, so just like catching up and stuff. It's like, oh, I need to do this again. I need to be creative. I have missed being creative. And luckily for meeting you at that event, that's sort of, I've been given more opportunity to do that and be creative in the video editing that I used to love doing so much, in the podcasting I love to do so much, which has led us in a weird way, thanks to Sonic and my passion for that community and that franchise, has led me to doing like stuff like this, the Convention Creatives.
Yeah. The best podcast for artists and conventions. Would you say that being in conventions now in a much bigger and broader scale has ignited more of that love and passion for the Sonic franchise?
Yes, easily yes. And I think it's because like we're at AnimeCon UK.
Yeah.
And even at AnimeCon UK, I have seen so many Sonic cosplayers, and Sonic characters who have never appeared in any Sonic adjacent anime related thing ever. But there's always a passion for Sonic. He's everywhere. And it really makes me appreciate the scale of that.
Yeah.
And actually going to these larger events and seeing the creativity from people like cosplayers, from we have friends who do music and perform, and like people have been performing I've been on the main stage performing, and like and I first met them at like SonicCon, for example. So continuously it's allowing me to network wider and wider with other creatives who are all inspired by this same blue blur, and I really love it. And manning the table with all your designs and stuff, seeing people like we have a Werehog t-shirt, for example, design that you've done, and seeing people lose their mind note for editor Jay, seeing people lose their mind at Unleash stuff has been like, I don't know, it just sparks something in you. They're like, oh my goodness, yes, there are all these people out there. And again, it just makes you think, how can I make stuff for them?
Nice. That's very heartfelt. That's very nice. What would you say to people listening who have a fandom that they're so passionate about that they would like to do something for, but they're not necessarily creatives or artists in the traditional sense? They're not musicians, they're not illustrators. What little pearl of wisdom would you impart on them, considering what you have created? You haven't necessarily, even though I know you can draw and you can carry a tune, you're not singing Sonic songs and you're not making big Sonic illustrations, but you've still created a more or less a fandom empire around your passion. What would you impart to someone who's listening who has also a fandom that they love as much, but maybe they're afraid of trying, or maybe they don't know what they can do?
I mean, when I started doing all of this, when I was told make your own video series, then I'd never made a video before. I had no idea what to do, and I look back at that stuff, not very good. So like, I have come a long way. But the thing that's inspired me at the beginning was, I just want to, if you love something enough and you just want to express it, just try. It's all you need to do. Do not be afraid to fail. And also, like you said, like, you don't have to sing. You don't have to be an artist. There are so many different avenues to express that. You might be someone who's just very prevalent on online social media spaces and just like to share opinions. You might have, saying, actually, I just want to talk about how I'm feeling about something. I might just record myself for a bit and post it on TikTok or something. And then with time, your skill set will evolve because you'll start to understand what you want that to look like. But I really think at some points, if you love something enough and you want to express it, just try. And do not be afraid, because there is literally nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose. Like, you have a go, see what happens. You'll work out what fits for you. And it's very likely that if you're into a specific franchise, you do know there is something there that I like doing this. I like writing. I like storytelling. I do like drawing. Like there'll probably already be something inside you that that maybe you don't feel confident in, but that inspires you. So just work out what the avenue is and just fully explore it.
Nice. Before we conclude, is one of the hundreds of people in our audience wanting to ask Sonic Cage Dome anything?
What are some of your most favorite memories as a Sonic content creator?
What are some of your favorite memories as a Sonic creator?
Other than being invited to Sonic on UK last year, which was a huge highlight. Get your
Not
tickets
sponsored.
for November.
Get your tickets. They're selling out.
I think one of my... Well, there's two. There is two. There's two prominent
Okay.
ones. One was Sega Europe. Love Sega Europe. They sent us the collector's edition of Sonic Mania, which was this big box with a Sonic statue in it and stuff. Me and my Sonic Show crew at the time, we all decided to stay at my place because I had a big projector. And we all stayed up overnight, unboxed this thing, did the most horrendous chili dog challenge ever, where I wanted to die because it was like the chilies were done with like some million Scoville rating thing, and it was whoever doesn't cave last wins, and I caved out straight away because it was torturous. Silly content like that for the lols for YouTube, but having that group of people,
Different era of YouTube.
oh right, yeah. Do not miss the era of YouTube at all. But I remember it was on the screen, like, because you could start playing it from midnight and the PlayStation thing would count down.
Yeah.
And then we could all boot the game at the same time. And
Nice.
just being with that group of people,
Nice.
playing it for the first time,
I bet.
having a complete nostalgia trip for the 90s, and just literal screams of joy of like different references that popped in and stuff
Yeah.
was crazy.
Nice.
The other one was, as a creator, submitting a video that won me the title of Europe's biggest Sonic fan. Yeah. So yeah, being titled Europe's biggest Sonic fan and being flown to San Diego to celebrate by Sega, again, pretty buzzing time as a Sonic creator. And I have refused to let go of that title until my dying days.
Still Europe's biggest Sonic fan.
Until they give a title to someone else. It's mine. It's mine.
Yeah. Even though you were challenged
I've been challenged many times.
many times.
Many times.
Many times.
And I'm like, that's a shame. I'm not competing.
The crown has been given.
The crown's been given.
Goodbye.
I will keep my sash. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing about this. I know it's not always easy verbalizing
Yeah.
your own journey
Yeah.
in such a small, short time.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate it. And I think this was the right space to do it.
Absolutely.
Because this convention is about celebrating fandoms and celebrating
Yeah.
the love for literally the biggest collective of fandoms,
Yeah.
anime. So I'm glad we got to talk about this.
I'm glad I got to talk about Sonic between these two beauties either side of us.
Yes.
Rather than like in my little office. I get
Yeah.
to be with these two wonderful life-size hedgehogs.
Now we can knock them down. No. I think that is all for this weekend's
Yeah.
Podlouts. What? Podcast record. Podcast recordings.
Yes.
I had a great time doing this.
It's
I
been
really
such
hope we
fun.
get to record more episodes live.
I hope so. And anyone watching out there who has a stage they want us to be at, we are
Please.
ready.
Yes,
Ready.
we will come with statues and good content. Yes. In the meantime, thank you for listening. Join our Patreon. We need your money, and that's it. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Firstly, a huge thank you to our amazing conventioneers, Beck and Kit, who have joined our Patreon.
Support the show and join the community yourself at www.patreon.com/theconcreatives. Find out more from our show sponsors and where to follow us on social media at www.theconcreatives.com. The podcast is hosted and produced by Gilles Bone and Jay Eggman.
Jamie, please edit that ending. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, I'll edit it. Don't worry.
I don't know the song. I don't know our endings. Anyway, that is it. Woo!